Let's say assignment number 3 is quite often the most misunderstood or confusing one, and it doesn't need to be. It's just that what I'm trying to explain is harder to explain in words on a paper than it really is to do. Let's take a look. I've already shown you what I expect from number 3. What is it that we're really trying to do? And what we're really trying to do is we're really trying to understand these 4 data types. Now, Python is a funny program, a language, because it can automatically detect data types. So, in a language like C++, when you want an integer, you have to say int, and then like something like giraffes equals 3 if you want to make 3 giraffes appear. And so you have to tell it here it's going to be an integer. In Python, we don't need to do that, right? In Python, we just need to say giraffes equals 3, and Python automatically detects that this is an integer, and so therefore giraffes is a data type of an integer. So that when I print this, and I don't want to print giraffes, what I want to print is I want to print what type of data is giraffes. And that's when I can get into finding out that the data type was an integer. So that's important because we're going to have to manipulate data types soon. So every time we create data, we really need to stop and think to ourselves, what kind of data is this? It doesn't seem important now. It becomes more important even already by the next badge that we're going to create. We're going to have to start manipulating some things, and so we need to think to ourselves, what kind of data do we do? So some people argue that the C++ language is better because they force you to declare what your data type is going to be and doesn't let you get away with not even understanding it and just typing things in. Some people say, hey, Python's smart, it can automatically do it for you, that's great. It's just that you still need to understand what's going on behind the scenes. So now that I've done that, here is an integer, right? So the whole assignment is to create 4 variables and make each one a different data type. So there's my integer. Now, I don't need you to type out the type. You can just print out giraffes and say that's how many giraffes I have. I'm just going to do this so that you can see when we create them that sure enough giraffes is an integer. In fact, maybe I'll go like this. Giraffes is a data type, and then it will type that in. Now, so how do we make the other data types? Here is a string. We'll go away from numbers for a minute and we'll talk about text. Remember that string means text. And all I have to do is make a variable. And so let's see, if I was dealing with giraffes, then maybe I'm on a safari in Africa and I want to name the country that I did my safari in. And so I put something like that. And because I put quotes around it, this automatically becomes text. If I say this, the computer's going to say, hey, is there a variable named Zaire? No, there's not. So we need the quotes. Again, remember, I have a habit of using double. You can use single. It doesn't matter at all. I'm trying to break my habit of using double, but it probably will never happen. If I was to take this line and say country is a data type, and then ask for the type of data my variable country is, it should return an str. See, Giraffes is a data type integer. Country is a data type string. You'll notice that it has this word class in here, but it's a data type. You don't have to worry about that. Excuse me. It's not that late out when as I do this, but for some reason I am yawning and I don't know, maybe I'm getting sick. Alright, so we need to get a real number now. A real number is a mathematical term. What we really mean is a decimal. And what the computer calls all this is a float. So any of these things are the same thing, right? A real number is a decimal means a float. Now, let's just say that we want to talk about how many zebras we saw on our trip. Except we saw some zebras that were eaten, so we ended up seeing, 5.25 zebras because, there was only a little bit of one left. So we've created a decimal. The Python automatically knows that that's a decimal. And I could change this to zebras is a data type. And I put zebras here. When I run this, it'll tell me what type of data zebras is. It's a float. And then finally, we have booleans. So remember that booleans means a true or false bit of data. And so we can say, hey, did we have fun on our safari? True, we sure did. You can't lowercase this, it's got to be a capital in order for it to see the value true. And then if I was to say fun is the data type fun, and I run that, it's going to show me that my data is a bool. So a boolean true, false, the computer calls that a bool. So this is kind of the assignment I gave you. I made a variable, I made a variable, I made a variable, I made a variable. I made 4 variables. They're related to each other because they have to do with my safari trip. I just didn't print out everything that you're going to want to print out. You don't need to print out the type. You just need to print out some, hey, I saw 3 giraffes. Hey, the country I was in was this. Hey, I saw eaten zebras. Hey, I had fun true. So that's what you're trying to do. I just wanted to show you how these data types work.